Well, thousands of students are set to walk out of the classroom today in protest of One Nation and their policies. The nationwide Students Say No to Hanson rallies have been slammed by One Nation MP Barnaby Joyce, who accused, quote, socialist and left-wing teachers of using students as a, quote, prop. Federal Education Minister Jason Clare said while he opposed One Nation's rhetoric, he did not support students leaving class to protest. For their take, let's bring in Sunshine Coast Mayor Rosanna Natoli and WA Opposition Leader Basil Zempilas. Morning to both of you.
Morning.
Rosanna, is it okay for students to protest if they believe in something during school hours?
Now, look, it really is important that students are at school during school hours. But, you know, we really want our young people to look up from their screens, don't we say that all of the time, and be involved in something they believe in. So if we're asking them to think critically, understand democracy and then also stand up for what they believe in, we can't also tell them that that only happens after 3 p.m. or on a weekend. So I think that if it is something that they really believe in, that we should encourage that kind of critical thinking and standing together and standing up for their rights and for their voices to be heard, even if that means missing a few hours of school on a very rare occasion.
OK, Basil, the Students' Union says One Nation wants a world that's more racist, more sexist and more homophobic, and students miss school for a lot of reasons which are far less important. What do you think?
Well, I would agree. It's good to have students engaged in the political process. I hope they are aware of what's going on, and I hope they would use the right time and the right forums to argue and advocate passionately for what they're for and what they're against. But I do agree with the Federal Education Minister, Jason Clare. In school hours, they should be at school. And I'd also hope that if they felt strongly enough or had educated themselves about the Prime Minister's capital gains tax changes, perhaps the inheritance duty that's being hit on their parents and grandparents, and maybe the changes to negative gearing, they'd also go out and protest about that. Or perhaps even the Prime Minister's comments about the Japanese Prime Minister, the melons, etc., because that could be really damaging to Australia as well.
Yes, of course, the government has disputed a couple of those points you've made. Moving on, it's been revealed Australian Air Force bases have suffered almost 150 security breaches in a single year. Rosanna, these figures come after an incident from last month where drones were spotted in restricted airspace at a base in Williamtown. Should we be worried about how many breaches there have been, or could this have coincided with the school holidays?
Well, you know, this is not just a drone accidentally going over into a neighbour's backyard. This is drones going into our top security bases. And I think that we should be asking those questions and getting those answers, because I don't think that secrecy about those base locations should mean that they don't have to face scrutiny, because this is actually potentially serious to national security. So I think we do need to ask those questions and we do need to have those answers, because if drones are penetrating right into our most secure places, then the defence of this country could potentially be at risk, and we need to know about that and understand what's going on.
Yeah, Basil, does it feel like we don't know enough about this? Could they be kids mucking around with a drone? Do we know how far they, went onto bases? Could they have just gone over a fence and then that's classed as a breach? What do you think?
Well, I think that's the first thing that we should stop and consider. This doesn't necessarily mean it was a drone flown by an invading or potentially invading foreign power. It may well just be someone being a bit mischievous. But also, when it comes to our defence, our national defence, I'm going to trust the experts. I think if there was a serious security breach and they thought the people of Australia should know about it, I'm going to trust them that they would make the right decision and tell us. I'm also going to trust them if they decide something like this isn't worth making front page news. After all, they are the experts. They know what they're doing. It is their job to keep us safe. I think from time to time, we should trust those people in the roles that they are playing and know that some stuff it's important we know, other things it might be better for all of us not to know. And this could be one of them.
OK, because they've got all the facts. Finally, this week's census has divided couples over one slightly awkward question, asking how much unpaid domestic work they did for their household. There are a lot of clips going viral on social media. Take a look at this one.
Did Andrew spend time doing unpaid domestic work for their household? No.
Yes.
There's the options are no.
Yes.
Did.
I did. Oh, 540.
Come on, be truthful. Be truthful.
540.
What? What do you do?
Heaps.
Rosanna, that was him saying heaps at the end there. How did you fill out this form, Rosanna?
Well, I have to tell you that I had a very interesting conversation with my son who said that he did more than 5 hours. And when I said, what do you do? He said, I unstacked the dishwasher. So now I have to question his maths ability as well, because that doesn't add up to 5 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, very,
like
very
40
slow.
minutes a
and
day.
I think that if you're looking at these, yeah, I know, right? So, but I think also if you're looking at this and asking people whether they have, contributed, they need to know where the dishwasher lives and where the vacuum cleaner lives, for example, and that is another issue.
Yes, that the plates don't just go in the sink or near the dishwasher, next to it. Basil, did you fill this out or did your wife?
No, I did. And actually, it was a really fun experience. 5 members of my family. And when it got to each section I did the first bit. And then when it got to each section, I took the laptop around to each member of the household and they did their own section. And it was a really fun experience, including my little fella who, when we got to the 99 years and releasing the information, he says, Dad, I don't want anyone to know where I live. I don't want to tick that box. I said, mate, it's 99 years away. You're going to be okay.
Yes.
We won't be here.
That's another one that made you think, didn't it? Yeah. Would you release your information? Yeah. Well, I did ours, and my husband's away.
Did you tick yes to release the info?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I did too.
And with the household chores, my husband's away, so I just made sure I did more than him, but he doesn't know that. Yeah. Thank you very much. See you next week.
See you guys.